Hi guys. So today, yesterday when I drove my truck down the road, I put them sway bar end links on before I drove it, and that improved my driving. I didn't hear as much noise, but I still heard something popping. So when I got home, I jacked it up with the tire on it still, and moved the tire, and this is what happened. That right there is a sign of your wheel bearing being broke, worn out, loose. And I accidentally started without recording, so I put it part of the way back together, and I'll show you what to do. So after you take your lug nuts off, which those are your lug nuts, and they were a 21 millimeter socket for my lug nuts. I took them off, and then you have to take off your brake caliper. Now there's two different ways of doing it. This one here is your slider. That will take the caliper off of the bracket. This is the bracket. It's the one that's got this shape right here. Now this bracket unbolts from the back. Now those bolts are 18 millimeter. There's two. See if I can get where you can see. Okay, there's the bottom one down there, which I already pulled it out. And then the top one's right here, and I already pulled it out. Now, as soon as you pull this out, the whole thing is gonna come loose. All right, so you're gonna pull it off, and that's got your brake pads in it, and it will set right on the ground, because it's your brake hose is right there. All right, so now that that's off, then usually you have a cap right here, and my cap was missing, and my hubcap on the truck was missing. So that's why I looked at this wheel, because what it did was it pushed it out and knocked the cap off and everything off, and the hubcap off. But you have a cap that goes right here, and it's a dust cap. So you have a pin right here, and this pin is bent. Usually, I already unbent it. So that you pull that Carter pin out, Carter key, however you want to call it, and then this has a little slip-on locking washer. We'll take it off, and then that leaves us with a nut right there. Now, that nut is a 1 1/16 nut. So I'm gonna pull it off. There's my nut. Pulled it off, and it goes right on there like that. And now this is ready to pull off. Now there's a washer right here. Right there is a washer. I can't get my big fat fingers in there, but when you pull this off, it's gonna fall out. Now, this is your washer, and it's got a contour to it. So when you put the middle of it is raised up on one side, and it's sunk down on the other side in the middle. And what you do is you put that on there. See, it's your, excuse me, my nose is running. So your spindle here, this is the spindle. It's got two flat sides on it, and it's got threads on it, and that won't let it turn. And then you put, that's where you, that hole right there is where you put your Carter key. All right, so we're gonna throw it over in the toolbox. Now this is what's left of my bearing. It's supposed to be a bearing inside this wheel. So right here is the inner race. You see that groove all the way around there? That's an inner race. I'm gonna show you how to knock it out in a minute. And then see, this one is busted, and it's supposed to be little bearings in there. It's busted right there. You can see that crack, yeah. And it's all wore out in there. Now on the back side, You got another bearing. There. That bearing's in there, and we're gonna knock it out. Alright. Then it's got a seal right there. So we're gonna knock them two bearings out, or well, the two races out, and pull this seal out. And then we're gonna put it back together. So hold on just a second while I pause you, and I'm gonna get up and, well, I'm gonna wait before I pause you. I'm gonna go in here and take us into the shed where I can work on this. And then I gotta go get my bearings. I bought 2 bearings yesterday. Alright. And I also have to clean off my little work table. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to get something to set it on. And from the other side, you're going to get in there and you're going to drive that thing out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the seal out. All right. So I don't have a seal puller, but sometimes you can do it like this right here. Get it to get it out. All right. That was your seal. See that? And then there's your inner race. Alright. And if you look at this, that thing has got a lot of slop in it from the inside. See? It goes in and out. Alright. So now I got an inner race. Just 2 inner races to get out. So the first one, let's see, I'm going to have some more light. Alright, what we're going to do, stick it down in there at an angle and tab it. One on one side, one on the other side, and then switch it up and it come out. And there is the inner race. Now that come out, so this side was up, and this side was in there like that. So you get a fat side and a skinny side. Alright, so now we'll set the other side up there. Alright. And I'm still in the picture. Alright. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. See if we got it to move any. It don't look like we have got it to move. And you want, when you do this, you want to set something up there so that way it'll fall out. You can't do it on flat surface. I might need to grab a larger screwdriver. Let's see if I got a larger screwdriver. Here's a longer one. Try it. All right, that got it. There's the brace for the back. Now, I'm going to clean that all up. But first, this is that race. See, it fits in there just like that. It's the outer part of the race, and then that's the bearing. And it just rolls in there. And that thing, I mean, that should have been pulled out a long time ago and re-greased. And see, this is the side is the wide side, and that's the thin side right there. So then this bearing is on an angle, and the side that goes in more goes in first, and the side that's out more is wider on the one side than it is on the other. It goes on the top, and that's how that works. So, wipe my hands. Like I said, we're going to clean this out. See what I got for some cleaner around here. Something easy you can use. That right there is some easy off oven and grill cleaner. Man, that's for baked on stuff. It'll work good too. And it's cheap. You can get that stuff at the dollar store. Spray some of that stuff on there. Then take you a brush. Man, clean that up. Get it looking pretty decent. Some people got parts washers. I ain't got that kind of money. But you can still do stuff on the cheap. And get you a rag. Get all that stuff out of there. Clean it up real good. Alright. Now that's cleaned up. Get another one. Alright, see, that one will fit in there. Alright, so what we're going to do, like I said, you got to grease these up. A lot of times, that's a new one right there. See, it's thin. That side's thick. The thick side goes down in there. And the easy way to do that, if you have the old bearing, clean it up, drop it in there, and you take the other side and you do the same thing. Get you a washer and a bolt, and it'll pull it right through. Tighten up the bolt. So, otherwise, you have to take it to like a machine shop or something like that. And, they'll charge you an arm and a leg. Let's see if this races. Well, no, that is the right one. Alright. Oh, yeah. That's going to go down in. Oh, yeah. Oop, that's loose. It ain't supposed to be loose. So it's supposed to be driven in there. So that means it's been doing this for a while. And it has done completely wore it out. Now, some people will go and they'll take that right there and just say, well, I got to go buy a new one. And they'll go buy a new one. But the only thing wrong with this is that hole ain't big enough. But it's still got plenty of meat on it. That thing will be turned down if you need to. there ain't really nothing wrong with it. So the redneck way of doing this, and it works, is you get you a punch. So you get you a punch. You get it on the side wall in there where that comes down. If you dropping this in there, like that, and it's loose, you see where it's gonna come up to. That one was hard to get out because it was split, but it looked like the same side. And you're gonna put that punch right in the sidewall. Just give her a little tap. And you're gonna make dents in it. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna raise it. All right, now we're gonna try that race again. Well, that tightened up quite a bit, but it ain't fully tight. So we're gonna continue on. All right. Now I'm gonna get you down. All right, maybe I'll be able to see them. All right, so you see how I put them little dents in there. I'll show you with the point here. See, I took it, and you put it in there, and then you hit it, and it puts a dent in it. And you spin this, and I did it all the way around. All right. Now this race, see, a while ago it just fell right down in there. Now it ain't. See, so I'll be able to knock it in there, and that'll hold it somewhat. So that'll go in there like that. Now, I'm gonna get me a clean rag. Get some of that off. Well, I don't know what I did with my other race. It's here somewhere. We're gonna set that right there. I got a brand new can. High temp disc brake wheel bearing grease. Ain't even been opened. Alright. Get some of that off here. And I just put it in my hand. I'm gonna get it, put it in my hand. Alright, and then I'm gonna take the bearing and just push it down in there. And I'm just gonna keep rolling it. And get it down in there. You want this to have some good grease in it. You want it packed full. Because if you don't, it won't last very long. Well, now I can go ahead and do this one. You can use that to get it too. You can do with just a little bit of it. And it don't make no big old mess. Don't be scared to get messy though. Just a little grease. See there? As you're pushing down, it's pushing up in between there. And then it's getting it full of grease. And it really don't even take a lot, but I'd rather have more in there than not enough. All right. Now, I'm going to stick that in there. All right, so I have a bolt that goes all the way through. I already got it in with my nut on there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wrench and I'm going to put it on the one side. I'm going to take this socket and I'm going to put it on the other side. And all I'm going to do is just tighten it up. As you tighten it up, it's pulling it together. Once it stops, it'll be all the way down in there. And then we can take it apart, take it out there and put it on the truck. All right, now it just bottomed out. That was on there a pretty good way, and I can look in there and I can see that it's bottomed out. But it still moves. So it's bottomed out, but it's still burning is working. So I'm gonna go just a little tighter. All right. And then now let me see. Oop, drop my socket. All right. All right. Now, the only thing I didn't get for this, I thought it came with it, but I didn't check it to make sure, was a seal. So, because on the back side of this, it gets a seal around it. Oops. Let me put that back in there. And I'm going to put the nut back on it. Oil and grease seal, Master Pro. That's what it looks like. This was the old one. You want to measure it up. Looks to be the same. So now, I'm going to take this, I'm going to flip it over. take this nut off. And that washer. Pull that other one off. It was down in there like that because I drove it down in there. So this goes in the bottom. That goes in there just like that. Alright. And you want to be careful. You don't bend it when you put it in here. So just little taps around the outside edge. Alright, that got it. Alright, so the next thing that I've got to do, flip you over here, is I always like to take a little grease. Clean grease. And rub it on there. It ain't gotta be a lot. Because we're gonna put a bunch in it in a minute. Now, let me wipe my finger off, hold on. Alright, so let me turn it back around here. We got that grease on there. I'm now gonna stick the rotor on it. Alright. So the rotor, I just stuck it on there. And now we're going to put the outside bearing in there. Alright. Well, I forgot. First thing we got to do before we do that, get it back off here, is I like to put a big old glob of grease inside. So just take you a big old glob. And then stick your bearing on it. And once you get the bearing on it, you're going to take your flat washer, you're going to stick it up on there. And then you're going to get your nut. You're going to push it up on there. I had to pick up on the rotor a little bit. So now that nut is threading on there. Let me get my socket here. Now see, I still got All right, here we go. You see, that ain't so tight, or that ain't near loose anymore. It's good and tight, and it can still roll. But once you do that, you don't want to be real tight. You don't want to be real tight, so we're going to back it off here. And you can see it's still not loose. Huh? All right, so we want to put our pin in it now. All right, so now all I'm going to do is take these pair of pliers right here. Gonna bend that up and to the front. And I'm gonna bend that one off to the side. Now that has that locked. It ain't going anywhere. So now what you gotta do, you gotta get the cap. This is the cap. And this is what fell off. You can see there was some grease in there. Man, it's nasty looking grease. So I'm gonna take this right here and I'm gonna clean it out. Alright, so I got it cleaned out. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take some more of that red grease. Clean my finger off. I'm gonna get a bunch of it. Put it in there. And what this does is when it's rolling down the road and it starts getting warm, it'll melt that grease in there, and it keeps the burns from wearing out. It lubricates. And then that just goes right on like that. So she is on there. Now we got to put the brakes back on it, and then put the wheel back on it. All right, so at this point, you don't want to have any grease on either side of that rotor, because if there's any grease on there, then it will keep you from stopping when you apply your brakes. Now, I didn't show it, but I already cleaned mine off. I sprayed them off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bolt right there and my caliper, which is down here. Now you always, when doing brakes, you want the bleeder valve pointed up. Alright. This is the bleeder valve. Right there. And that's for when you bleed the brakes. Alright, so now I went ahead and put the bottom bolt in and got the top ready to go in. So now I'm just tightening up my 2 bolts. Now I'm pretty strong, and I don't know what these are supposed to be torqued at, but I do it to a couple of Ugga Duggas. So that's just kind of snug, but I got a different wrench that I use. Alright, sorry about all that camera work. So now, get that on there. And I'm just going to do it by feel. Get the other one back here. Alright. So the brake caliper is on. Now the only thing left to do is put the wheel on. I just thread them on there a little bit. Now you want to go opposite. So I was on that one, so I'm either going to go to this one or this one. Then opposite. And then opposite. So I went that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Hold on just a second. Alright, so after you get that done, your wheel will spin. So I'm going to drop it down until it touches the ground. Now it don't spin no more. I'm going to get my torque, my breaker bar, put it on there and tighten it. Last thing you gotta do, put your hubcap on. All right, and that's how you replace a wheel bearing. The inner and the outer wheel bearing on a 2003 F-150.